I need to get Mr. Paige on the phone right now. Ring, ring.
Hello?
Excuse me, may I speak to Mr. Paige?
Ha! This is he. Yes, you are speaking to the Mr. Paige. Yes, that is I.
It's so good to see you. You look like a revolutionary today.
Hey.
Matthew Paige from the band DeeOhGee.
We're all doing our part. I'm glad to be here.
Yes. It's election day. We're doing election day coverage.
That's what the red phone is for. Somebody call somebody. Somebody call somebody. Do something.
See, I got a black phone. He's got a red phone. He's got the important phone.
Somebody press a button.
I'm hanging up. Is yours rotary or touchscreen?
No, it's touch. It's touch.
Oh,
but
this is good. I got a rotary one and you got touch, and they work together.
Look at that. Working together.
This is Emily Walters with the lipstick pickup, and I just called my good friend Matthew Paige, who is my sympathetic string and consultant on all things style related.
I'll take it.
He's also my neighbor here in Nashville, and we are with the Lipstick Pickup podcast. And I always hope that one new episode is going to bring somebody on. And if this is your first one, I want to tell people that I've recorded 6 podcasts with Matthew Paige of Nashville, Tennessee, who plays with a band called DeeOhGee. DeeOhGee. That was previously known as the Blackfoot Gypsies. And he is a pal of mine, and he's been helping me out on this podcast for, it's going to be a year before we know it, Mr. Paige.
Wow.
We've done a bunch of recordings, and you've acted as a consultant. You've explained to me about your real sitar. You've helped me understand one of my electric sitars, and you used it on a recording that will be released in the future.
That's right.
And you told me about your history with the Silvertone amping case.
Yes. That
you was prominent part of your early sound in your career.
My main guitar for many years.
It's critical. I've reacquainted myself with those records, and I'm like, okay, this is a Silvertone record.
Yeah.
And even one of the CDs, it has you and Zach there and you're holding. He's got drumsticks, and you've got a Silvertone in your hand.
It was my main squeeze for a long time.
And you look like a kid. Anyway, you've been helping me with some things, and a couple of months ago, today you're going to help me with the Dan Armstrong guitar, big picture.
Big.
For the audio listener, he just backed up, and he's got it sitting on a stand behind him, beneath his hats. And it's, what you called this, a knockoff?
Yeah, I'd call it a knockoff, I guess. Yeah, a copy, a fake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, it's the same, it's the style of the guitar, and he's going to help me with this. I was over there a couple of months ago dropping off a guitar. We've had a lot of ones go back and forth, and you're also a bass player. So when I bought my Silvertone bass that's over my shoulder, I brought it over to his undisclosed bunker and and had him test this one out. He's my authority on so many things. And so we were there doing a switch, and it was Casey, maybe somebody else was there, and we had the wood pile. That's what my friend Eric calls your guitar collection, your wood pile.
Thank you.
Do you ever use that? It's fine if you do, fine if you don't.
No, that's a good term, though. I like that. That's what it is. Most of them are wood.
But some of them are. And you said, be careful. I was looking at this big pile of guitars, and you said, be careful. You didn't say this, but there was glass in that wood pile.
That's right. That's right.
You said, I've got one of those Dan Armstrong guitars. And for a person who doesn't play music, nor ever played music, and a chick or whatever, I go, what? You've got one of those Dan Armstrong guitars? I'm sure whoever else was there was like,
very excited.
What the hell is up with the Dan Armstrong guitar? And I'm going to explain, because Dan Armstrong is not a guitar, is not a Silvertone or a Dan Electro, or ostensibly under our discussion, big picture discussion on this podcast, but he figures prominently in the Dan Electro story because he got his start as a luthier ish, modifying Dan Electros at a guitar shop on, I think it was on 48th Street. Anyway, he was known for his modified Dan Electros. And I've learned a lot about that over the years. And Dan Armstrong, and I kind of, just to be frank, I kind of have a crush on the guy. And he's been dead for 22 years, so we're all safe.
He checks all the boxes, let's be real.
He did. And apparently he did for Carly Simon too, because I've got from great authority in my research, I would say. I'm not trying to be an insider, but I've done a lot of research, and apparently Dan Armstrong broke her heart, and she wrote a couple of great songs about it. And
Guitar players, am I right?
it was the luthier in him that she really loved.
Luthiers, am I right?
Yeah. You can't just play guitar these days. Okay, you got to make hats.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to be handy.
That's right.
Anyway, so I jumped at the opportunity to talk to you about it because you had one, but we were busy that day and it was under a big pile and it's heavy and we were coming and going. And the next time I had to go over there for something, I said, "Is it okay if you could take that out and I could look at it and you can answer some questions?" And we did. And I've been excited about, I don't remember what you told me, by the way, so this will all be fresh.
Good.
You see what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And I know about Dan Armstrong and the history, and you kind of know about Keith and Richards and why you got to have it and why you wanted to have it and then what it does for you. And we're going to come together.
Yes, let's bring it together. Let us.
But that's the origins of that. And Matthew it was a while back, and you were breaking my heart, Matthew, just like Keith Richards. I would text you. I'd be like, "Hey, man, when are we going to have a chance to talk about that darn Dan Armstrong?" Mid-November, Emily. But in the meantime, I made you a hat.
Right, yeah. Just so you don't, go without.
In the meantime, Matthew did make me a hat, but he's been really busy touring and making hats and hustling like he does. And he actually just went on tour with a band that I love called Justin and the Cosmics.
Yes, I also love them.
Yes. What is Justin's last name?
Collins, Justin Collins.
Justin Collins. I've seen them live a few times over the years because Kyle Walsh, the drummer, is a longtime friend of mine. But I hadn't, I would go see them live because I always enjoyed it. And whenever I would run into Kyle, I'd say, "Hey, when are you and your band playing?" "Oh, we'll be doing that." I'll go, "Okay, I'll be right there." I'll be there. And that's why I met you at Brown's Diner that night.
That's right. Thank you, Justin.
I was there to see Justin.
So was I.
I was, actually, I don't know if I've even met Justin yet. I was there to see my boy Kyle.
He's a man. He's the man.
And you've been providing. I mean, he's Kyle.
Yes, he is.
You've been on tour with them. You lent a hand by playing bass.
Yes.
And I would tell me quickly, just so people know why.
Yeah.
To explain that you're not actually the bassist of Justin and the Cosmics, but depending upon when it is. You are.
Yeah. So the original Cosmics, Justin and the Cosmics, is Justin and Kyle, guitar and drums. Justin's brother, Scott Collins, who is also part of the Smoking Flowers and also part of his own solo endeavor. Brilliant songwriter, guitar player. And they've been playing music together in some form. They're brothers. They've been playing together forever. They have had bands in the past. And then also Connor is the local bass player in town, and he has real life responsibilities and can't go on the road. So I'm kind of second string when it comes to, we're going on the road, do you want to come play? And I know Justin's songs like the back of my hand. I knew them all before we started playing together. So when he's like, "Can you play bass? Would you want to?" And I was like, "Absolutely, please let me." So he was just out opening for his friends, Deer Tick, which they've been friends, and they were collaborators on a band called Diamond Rugs, and he produced songs for them and super intertwined with that band and that world. So we were out playing theaters in Middle America, and these old theaters in, Iowa City and Kalamazoo and all these places, and I'm playing bass, 3-piece guitar, bass, drums, and so when the opportunity arises, I will play with them in any capacity because he's one of the greatest active songwriters, contributors, thinkers, actual meat on the bone music that's happening, not chasing the thing, but contributing earnestly to
what I like
town.
to call the real thing.
Yes, he certainly is. And he's been at it for a long time, and he just keeps getting better. It's one of those, like, he just keeps and he's working on another record, and hopefully I'm going to be on the next record. He wants to go to New Orleans to record it, so I might be the one to be on it. So fingers crossed.
You would be the person to know how to catch that zeitgeist, because you have a history there, even though, anyway, we've talked about it before. I really love his band, and, I really love Kyle, and I want to tell you, I'm going to get this on tape. I told you when you were on tour, I said, did Kyle ever tell you about the time he took me to France? Did you ever ask him?
No, I didn't. I forgot to ask. No, what was it? How'd it go?
Many years ago. I mean, I'm talking like 15 years ago, probably. Maybe almost 15 years ago. I've known Kyle that long.
Nice.
We were at the old family wash with a big group of people. We had friends in common, which is how I met Kyle, through his friend Tony Keats. And I always called Kyle Best Friend Kyle, because Tony would always say, best friend, my best friend Kyle, my best friend Kyle. He would never just say Kyle. I'd be like, I get it. He's your best friend. I would always tease Tony about, there's best friend Kyle. Well, best friend Kyle, Tony, all of us, it's a group of 8 or 10 of us, are at the old family wash, watching some music. And at the time, Kyle was talking about taking Tony to Ireland because they're both Irish,
Yes.
Anyway, I don't know if it ever happened, but I was like, wow, that sounds like fun. And at some point during the night, Kyle says, have you ever been to France? And I said, no. And he goes, I want to take you sometime. And I go, great. And we talked about France. I was like, you want to take me to France? Yeah, I'll take you to France. He was talking about France across the street. France East Side. The old one was right across.
I mean, it's arguably, they're pretty similar in a lot of ways, in greatness.
I've been telling people that story for years, and Kyle and I always laugh about it every time I see him, and I finally got it on tape.
Bonjour.
Next time you see Kyle, you tell him I got that on tape and put our story on the internet.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. So I want to, I told you how much I love that record. The one that I listened to this morning, Cool Dead. There's some amazing songs on there.
He's a great songwriter and a great producer.
What are some of your... I'm sorry.
He's a great songwriter and producer. He produces his own stuff, so he's very in touch with the tones and the orchestration of it all. He has it already, and he just needs to get it down. Which some people are like, let's figure it out, and he's like, I got it. Let's do this, which I appreciate, having a vision.
He knows exactly what he's doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's very atmospheric. Do you have a favorite song that you like to play live when you play? Or is it all good?
I love "Are All My Friends Gonna Be Strangers," which is it's just a great song and real simple and perfect, and it's also sort of I don't know if he meant to do it, but a little bit of a head nod to Merle Haggard.
I didn't know that.
Well, I don't know if he did it on purpose, but but that Merle Haggard song, from now on, all my friends are gonna be strangers.
Can I play a few?
Please. Yeah.
It translates. We don't have the rights to use music. We're still looking for endorsements, by the way. I don't need money. What I want is the authority to play music on my show. So, media inquiries, Emily at thelipstickpickup.com. Send it to me. We got a great radio show. Matthew and I would make a great radio show, wouldn't we?
Yeah, we would. Let's do the early morning kind where we're up at 4 a.m. Like, hey, we got your drive time entertainment. Come on in. Come on.
You know what? It's gonna be a part cooking show and radio show, and we're gonna call it the Wake and Bake.
I'm in.
Okay, what's the name of the song that you love?
It might be called "Are All My Friends Gonna Be Strangers?" or maybe just it's called "Strangers."
does he play for gear? What are a couple of his? Does he have a signature guitar?
No, he has like this Epiphone Les Paul that's like pieced together. It's hanging on. His rig, his term for everything that's like just hanging on is schooly, and this is prime schooly rig. But it sounds so good.
Oh my god.
He's not about names or brands or any of that stuff. It's just like what he has, making it work and making it awesome. And his rig for this tour was amazing. He's running through 2 amps, and it's just loud and just amazing. But yeah, that's his rig. Schooly rig.
Schooly, I've got a new word.
Use it
TM
wisely.
that. You got to TM that.
Yeah, that's one of his albums called Schooly Dreams. Every one of his albums is great, full of great songs, and so you can't go wrong with a Justin and the Cosmics record.
I saw that they're doing a show with Richie. What's his name?
Kirkpatrick, but his
Yes.
his moniker is Richie. Yes,
Richie,
they're playing. I
Richie's-
believe it's Soft Junk on Friday. I believe.
I plan on being there because I've seen Richie. I've met him. I've met him before a couple of times. I think the first time I met him in Carter when he was working there, if he still does. And I've seen him perform, and I love that guy too.
Same.
I saw him Halloween night, and he's really talented, and I'm looking forward to that. I hope to be there.
You should talk to him about gears, because not only is he a luthier, but he's a wizard at electronics, and every guitar that he plays out there, he built. And he has fun electronics built into it, and he's like, he is good. And I love his songs, and him as a person.
I don't know him well, but he's totally cool. And I ran into him the other night. He had a witch hat on that had tassels, and it was like driving him crazy. I was like, you didn't think that through before you left the house.
You didn't see that coming, did you, Richie? All right.
Anyway, that was an incredible show. Well, I'm excited about that. Excited about so many things. So we're going to get into this Dan Electro thing. I love Justin and the Cosmics. You can find them. Google it. It's not hard to find anything. People get on the internet. Get on the internet and get smart instead of getting stupid. That's our motto.
Get smart. Yeah.
I want to take a moment to talk about our clothes today for the audio listener because Matthew is my master of style and he's made some clothes for me.
I have.
He's also made me a hat, and you know he's my authority on style. So today I tried to get all Keith Richards. You see what I did here, Matthew?
I like
what
that.
What do you think about what's happening?
Yeah.
I usually don't feel comfortable. I got a bunch of rings on, a bracelet.
Yeah, you do.
Got a bunch of heavy eye makeup on. I've discovered, now that I'm trying to put heavy eye makeup on, that I have this thing that they've been telling me I need to do something about. Older women, hooded lids. I keep seeing these ads to do something about your hooded lids. And I think I might have a hooded lid.
Hooded lid? That's not a car reference? Okay.
Anyway, America says I should want to do something about it, but guess what? Too bad.
No, you're doing just fine.
I'm like Keith Richards. I don't care.
Yeah,
you see
no. You see that?
Matthew and I are speaking sign language right now.
For the audio listener, there's 4 birds flying around. No, you're right out of the 1970 Keith Richards book with that outfit. That's perfect.
You know, whenever I post these, I have to let people know if there's explicit language on it, and we're not using explicit language.
Just sign language.
Yes.
Strictly ASL sign language. No worries here. Don't worry about it.
Anyway, so I wore a vest, you know. Maybe I'll get all... Keith is... He's a hippie like you. He's a hippie like you.
Man, he understands how it goes.
Yeah, he's stylish, and Matthew is wearing that's one of your coats, isn't it?
Yeah, I made this one.
I love it. Epaulets.
Epaulets and pockets. I like old military stuff, so this one was inspired by that. And I had old patches around. This one's from World War I. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
And, yeah. Just...
It looks great. You're one of my favorite life soldiers, and I like to see you in regulation.
Right, yeah.
So I want you, for the video... I want you to lean forward and show us your hat.
Oh, yeah. I made this beret last night. I was working on a new beret pattern, and it's getting cold. It's going to be cold eventually, I hope. And I love Hudson's Bay blankets. Hey, flower girl. So I was like, all right, I'll make a warm hat out of Hudson's Bay wool. So, get the stripes in there. And this is a deerskin headband. And
Yeah.
berets are weirdly tricky to make. So I've been experimenting with them over the years. And this is just another go at it.
It's wonderful. I told you before you made me a hat that I wasn't really a hat person, but that's a lie. I love a beret.
Next.
And
Next
I've
hat for
been,
you.
yeah, well, I've been, somebody reminded me just how useful they are. And they will go over your ears. I can do it here. I can do it there. I can put it over my ear, like a sock. You can use it like a sock hat. You can do it on,
Oh, yeah.
it's a classic. And as you know, as you can understand, I'm sure as you can anticipate, mine is cashmere. Okay.
Of course. Of
Of
course.
course. Of
Yes.
course.
They're great hats. They're super great for working, and they've been around forever. Obviously, Spain and France will tell you who invented it, and they'll both say it's them. It's a thing.
Yeah.
And then they don't blow off your head. There's no brim. There's nothing to catch the wind. So a lot of times people will be wearing wide brim hats out into the world, and they'll blow off their head. Like, you got to be ready with your brimless hat. So
Yeah.
berets for those days.
It's my go-to when I'm in New York. I
Yes.
remember I bought the one that I have now before a trip to Chicago, and it was bitter cold there in November 2021, and it was perfect, and it was cashmere. And I also, it was chic looking, but it provided the warmth of a good sock hat or whatever you would skull cap,
Yeah.
but I didn't look like a football player.
Right.
I don't want to look like a football player.
You don't have to.
Anyway, back about my outfit. I got a vest on. I got a little linen. I put on a bunch of bling. Get some hippie earrings.
You hippie.
Matthew looks good too. Okay, on to real style. Let's talk about the guitar.
Let's.
Break it out.
I even polished it a little bit so you could actually see how see-through it is.
I actually had a conversation with someone recently that you shouldn't clean guitars, but this one you need to clean because it's
Yeah, I mean, it depends on who you are and what you're trying to do, but I didn't clean my guitars for a long time until one day I was at a show and my friend came up and he's taken photos of us for a long time, and he comes up to my guitars and he starts cleaning them up because I would just let the sweat and the beer and everything just drip on it and let it be, whatever, rock and roll. And he's like, they photo much better when they're clean, believe me. And I was like, and he's a rock and roll guy too. I'm like, okay. So since then, I would just give it a once over before I go play a show. Anyway, here this is. I'm told on a great authority that the copies are made out of the same material, same acrylic plexiglass as the real ones. So yes, it may be a Chinese replica, but it is maybe 10 pounds, maybe 11. It's very heavy, very dense, and that was Dan Armstrong. I know you know more about him now than I do, but that was the idea, was to have a really heavy, dense material that would keep the resonance of a guitar. So the idea was to have a real dense material that, and the stop bridge, instead of going somewhere else or to a tremolo, this adds more tension, and then so with that thick, hard plastic and that tension, you have this really great sustain in this guitar. So that's one of and the new ones have, the replicas just have a one pickup that is just installed with screws, as to the original would have a gouge out here where the pickups could slide in and out, because his idea was to have different pickups rather than carrying 5 guitars to a recording studio. You carry a couple of pickups that have different sounds. Like, oh, here's the Telecaster sound, here's the humbucker sound, or whatever, and you just pull them out and pull them in. But anyway, this one is a Dan Armstrong pickup that I bought. It was an 80s answer Dan Armstrong had to the EMG pickups that were being popular at the time, and it sounds really great. It looks kind of 80s and a little out of place if you compare and contrast the original ones. But wood pick guard, which sometimes crack. They were known for cracking. 24 frets with the double cutaway, so you can get all the way up there, and super accessible. A cool, funny, little, interesting shaped headstock, which is apparently exactly how the other ones were. And just great neck, bolt-on neck, the way the Fenders traditionally were. And it's real functional. It's you can drop. Oh wait, Dan tested them by throwing them off the 3 or 4 story building to see if they'd be all right, and they were. Sometimes they were still in tune.
I can believe it. I was looking right in front of me. I have the another shout out to my friend Eric Amball, who's always pointing me in the right direction. And when I first started my thing about really wanting to learn about gear, he told me, you got to have this one. You got to have the Rolling Stones gear book. I'll have to lend this to you sometime or
yes,
whatever.
Please.
But there's some great stuff in here. But they have the early drawings in here. And I was looking at them. The one that you have is identical. The headstock is identical to this drawing that's in here. The caption says, these are the original templates and notes for the Dan Armstrong plexiglass guitar. And it's like the templates. I couldn't hold it up, and I can't. Anyway, I sometimes forget this is an audio podcast. I wish I could do pictures, but all I can do is describe.
That's good enough.
But one thing that we can do, if we want to talk about describing it, is you can play it.
Yeah, give it a listen.
Yes.
I gotta give credit to Dan Armstrong and the pickups that he made, because the one that came with it was just cheap and not very good, and I was like, wow, this guitar it's not really doing the thing. And then I put this pickup in it, and I was like, oh, there it is. Dan wouldn't leave us hanging. Dan never leaves us hanging.
Unless you're Carly Simon. Sorry.
Oh, he might ghost you. What would Keith Richards do, i.e., what would Chuck Berry do? I mean, it just sounds good. I don't know what to say.
Runka, runka, runka. Dude, I mean, we have a lo-fi operation here once again. Is that in your Pig Nose amp? Is
Yes,
that what you're
I
playing?
got also shout out to Pig Nose for making the world's greatest amplifier.
Yes, I love that little bad boy.
Me too.
He's got a little sticker on there that says, I voted. So,
I did, and I do.
Yeah, and listen, I want him to become a big star for voting, just like Taylor Swift. People like that. She thinks that you should vote, and Matthew does too. So let's make him a big star.
Yeah. Hey, look, remember that famous guy who voted? Yeah. Wow.
Hilarious. we're having some fun today.
Yes, we are.
I love the way that it sounds. So I want to tell you a couple of things. You may know this. You know your stuff about this guitar, but maybe not know this. Have you ever looked at this Stones book?
Just what you've shown me. I think I flipped through it at your house one time, but not in depth. What do you got for me?
Well, I just want to skim here. Armstrong gives Keith the prototype. In 1968, which is when they started developing it. That's why this episode, by the way, folks, is going to be called We're Partying It Like It's 1969. I did a bad job with my introduction. The episode is Partying Like 1969, which is why he's dressed like that and I'm not dressed like this.
That's right.
So in 68, they give Keith Richards a prototype and, it takes off. And I'm sure that he loved the versatility that you're telling me about it. Do you know if he switched them out?
I don't know which one he chose to use most of the time. I don't know if he ever switched them out. I don't know.
Yeah. I'll have to, you know what? It might be too inside baseball for me, but he loved it. And this book gets into Dan Armstrong a little bit and what a fascinating person he was. And apparently he was a real badass bassist and guitarist. But
Well,
what, and I even have it underlined as I look down and read, what really blew his skirt up was being an inventor and a designer.
that's
That's
the
what
fun
he,
part. Yeah, it's like seeing the problems. Once you're in it for a while, you're like, oh, there's a lot of problems going on here with instruments, touring, whatever it may be, and you're like, oh, let's fix it. Let's do something about it. And then Dan did it, and then everybody freaked out, and this has been an iconic guitar since.
Here's a quote. I am sure I was the first guy who ever put a flat transducer in an acoustic guitar. What the hell is a flat
Yeah,
transducer?
you sent me that article last night, and I read the thing, and I didn't know that that was a common thing for those guys to do. Because I mean, going down to the guitar shop and picking up an acoustic guitar pickup wasn't an option for a long
Yeah.
time. So there were other ways to mic these acoustic guitars, and we're talking playing big, big rooms with these early PAs. So like things sonically weren't as sound as they are today. They weren't as safe to like be plugging something acoustic into giant rooms. So finding ways, and the pickups that he used, I forget which ones he's, I guess, a transducer pickup. He said it was, I think, used for something else initially, but they put them into acoustic guitars. It's brilliant, that they had to be creative.
He was Nat Daniel. That's why he's relevant to this story, this lipstick pickup. He's in the lipstick pickup Hall of Fame because he knew he was an engineer and he was a genius. And apparently he was a really interesting cat too because his guitar shop on 48th, I believe it was a salon of everyone from, let me see if I can find this. Anyway, of jazz guys, and it was
Yeah.
on the Lower East Side.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody, it was a salon. It was a salon of interesting people, and it was a lot of jazz people. So he was a community leader and a scenester, and he had a fascinating love life, and he was quite the ladies' man.
Those luthiers, like I said, don't trust your daughter with a luthier. Would you let your daughter date a luthier?
I was reading. I'm going to tell people if this is fascinating to you, go to danarmstrong.org. It is a deep and wide website full of all kinds of things, and I'm not sure who did it, but it's a loving tribute to all things Dan Armstrong. And if you want to learn something about him, it's all there. And so is the star-studded list of people who play his guitar or have played over the years, and it's a real shocker. I mean, everybody from Alanis Morissette to, and now that I know what I'm understanding, what you told me about the pickups being interchangeable. I don't know how much people use that at this point, but here's what we know: you take it out just like the electric sitar, and it gets a reaction,
Big time.
big time.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Not only visually but sonically, it stands alone in my guitar playing experience of tones. You have the
Yeah.
humbucker, you have the single coil, you have the Gibsons, the Fenders, all the other in betweens, the P90s, whatever. This is something else sonically.
Yeah.
It arouses something else in people's ears. I'm a firm believer in that we kind of get used to the popular sounds of Fenders or these normal amplifiers, these normal guitars. You're kind of like, okay, yeah, I get it. I get that sound. And then when you drop something different on them, they go, oh, what is that? And when I played this live, it was like, oh, something else is going on here.
And a lot of times, a real music lover, in a perfect world, it's not like this in Nashville, but in other cities, there's people in the audience who also don't play music.
Right.
They just react to things instinctively like
Right,
me.
exactly.
They don't go, oh, he just picked up a new guitar and everything. They're not doing that. They're like me.
Sure.
They either love it or like it instinctively. And I've watched people react to these things. I saw St. Vincent, and Jason Faulkner picks up the electric sitar and he starts playing it and everybody starts acting differently. And they don't know, they're not totally sure why.
Right.
It's all about the vibrations. You and I are in the same
Well, it's
sound therapy feeling about getting your vibration high.
It's real. And there's a reason that there's leagues of people who are into music that are just chasing tone. I mean, I know you know, but for those who don't, it's this deep and never-ending rabbit hole. Even the most experienced verse guitar players are still chasing this tone that is, and for good reason, in my opinion. If you have cheap garbage stuff, then your tone isn't doing the right thing. And so it's very deep.
And I feel like I'm becoming the authority on who's got the good tone and who doesn't, because some of these guys are tone deaf.
That too. And even people who don't play music, they know it. You know it, and you see other people in the audience knowing it. Might not know why, but it's not on accident. That was not on accident. When people's tone is good, that's rarely on accident. When you're like, wow, they sound really good, they'll be like, oh yeah, it's this and this and this and this year of this pedal and this blah 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 blah, and super nerds. But the result is good sounding guitar.
Yeah. I want to read you another thing, and you might know this, because I remember I was impressed with how much you knew about it. And when I said, why'd you get that? And you're like, I got it for this, this, and this, and this. I was like, okay, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Apparently that one either got lost or something, and was it stolen or lost? You know,
Keith had a lot of stuff stolen from him.
It was easy to take everything from women to his guitars.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't want to talk bad about him, but a lot of times he would be passed out and people would just raid his stuff. But I believe the first one he had, I think he had a few of them, but I think the first one was stolen. But he always wore rhinestone, made by Manuel, rhinestone jackets and shirts and pants and cool belts and stuff. So the back of it was all scratched up. Like, you wouldn't be able to see through this part because it was all rubbed up against his belly, all messed up. So my friend thought he had found the one. It had come through town and he didn't buy it and it was too expensive or whatever, but it was perfectly messed up right where it was, a real one, 60s one. And he's like, I think I laid my hands on it, but I couldn't get it at the time. And nobody knows what happened to it. No one knows the serial number. No one knows, but it's out there somewhere. Someone's got it. So there's some folklore there.
That's some fun stuff. I went to look up what it sold for when they started retailing it.
Yeah.
In 1969, it was $340 without a case.
Yeah.
And I put that in the inflation calculator. You know how I roll. That's exactly $3,000.
How much is it?
That's exactly $3,000, pretty much, if you round up. It's $3,000.
That's a lot.
Which is... I don't know how much that was for a guitar back then, but I have to assume it was a lot.
Well, I mean, you can go downtown and buy a brand new Les Paul for $2,000, $2,500 today. So that's, in a lot of people's opinions, top of the line guitar. That's that, maybe and this is my question to you. So this says Dan Armstrong, Ampeg. The Stones had an interesting relationship with Ampeg specifically because they needed to tour America and they needed amplifiers and they were hoping Ampeg would give them to them, and I think there was some whatever. They might have given them to him, but did Dan initially start this run with Ampeg, or did Ampeg pick it up and help him manufacture it later? Do you know?
It's in here in the book, even as limited as this is, and I think Dan Armstrong attracted Ampeg's attention with what he was doing with electronics. By the way, he was an electronics nerd.
Right.
From the time he was a little kid. He was a guitar player, but he was like Vinny, and he was an electronics nerd, just like Justin. Anyway, so he was doing some stuff with guitar making, and he caught their attention. And he told them, you should make a guitar, I'll help you. And they said, yeah, let's make it together. And so if they were if they had a relationship with Keith Richards, it could be that's why Dan Armstrong had access to Keith Richards, although Dan Armstrong was already respected. He had played bass with Van Morrison. Did you know that?
I did not. That's so cool.
Dan Armstrong, he toured with Van Morrison. Wow. So he was not a nobody, but it could have been the reason why he was... Okay, Keith Richards, he's our dude. Because there's video on YouTube of the meeting. It's like a bunch of guys. They're all smoking. Somebody's got a beer, somebody's got a cup of coffee, and it's like, okay, everybody gather around. Oh, Jimi Hendrix is there.
Of course.
It's on YouTube. I'll have to send it to you. It's on YouTube.
Oh, when
and
they're in the
it's
backstage, and Mick Taylor and there was it backstage at Madison Square Garden? Was it that
I
video?
don't know where it was. They were showing each other. Keith Richards was showing Jimmy his new guitar.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a bunch of people standing around. I don't know who they were. So
Yes, I believe that's backstage at Madison Square Garden in 1969,
Okay.
and because Hendrix and the Stones would have been in the same neighborhood, and I've seen many videos and pictures from that backstage, and I think there's one where Jimmy's playing one of these, and he's also playing Mick Taylor's Red SG, which someone gave to him. There's another story there, but yes, I believe that was in New York, Madison Square Garden.
it's fun. I don't think there's any audio, but it's just
Right.
It's like when giants run the earth. And
Right.
anyway, here's what I want to read to you that's kind of interesting and in keeping with what you were telling me about this plexiglass, it being clear, and it's got something unique, and it's not just for show. This is not like, hey, let's make this look super cool. There's actually something going on with this clear guitar, its tone, and everything else. And so apparently Armstrong made a black model of another similar material called cellulose. I don't know. I'm not a not this kind of materials person.
Sure.
And presented one to Keith. But as Dan Armstrong expert Mark Schnorr explained, the black guitar only got a dry run on stage. Within a few songs, it became apparent that the instrument simply wasn't holding its tune, and Keith had to switch back to a clear model. He thought that the black body absorbed the light and heat of the stage lights, and the whole thing went out of tune within a couple of songs. So he's got the same plastic thing, and the stage lights and the heat from his body and everything else is making the black one hot, but it's keeping... How you staying cool today, Matthew?
Right. Exactly. That's so wild. I never thought about that.
It's great, right?
Yeah. Yes.
With that clear guitar, you look cool.
Hey, it's a cool looking guitar. At the right angle, it looks like you're playing nothing. Like you're being on stage, and you see your guitar, you see your body right through it, and like, oh, okay, well, I guess he's playing a guitar. There's another great video. Speaking of the black one and other guitar heroes that I'm in love with, is rest in peace, brother Wayne Kramer from the MC5. If you watch If you watch this video of them playing in, it's very famous. It's in black and white of them playing outside, and it's a festival. And it's like, kick out the jams, motherfucker!
Oh yeah.
And he's playing a black one of these. And one of my friends told me, I don't know if it's a real black one or if he painted it black. He hot rodded all of his guitars, so I don't know if he actually had a black one or if the rumor was he got a clear one and then painted it black. So I don't know, but he rips it. Anyway, that's another great video of Dan Armstrong's in action, and he is letting it wail.
I see a clear guitar, and I want it painted black.
That's right. Wayne got it.
Yeah, baby. Rest in peace, Wayne Kramer. I saw him on the Outlaw Country Cruise. I'm probably never going to take another cruise. But it was a one-time event, and there were some legends on there, and Wayne Kramer was one of them. I watched him perform with Los Lobos, and
he was one of my favorites. Sincerely, the MC5. That was that's where I'm headed. There it is. They did it.
Yeah.
I'm going there. Yeah. But yeah, he played a bunch of cool guitars. They were all just so cool, and they always hot rodded their guitars. They're from Detroit, so hot rodding their gear was not something new. Cars, guitars, whatever it may be.
Gritty.
And so his famous Stratocaster has a humbucker in the middle of it and painted American flag. He just he didn't care.
I've got you and I have joked over our friendship. I've got pictures.
I believe it.
I've got a picture of him playing it by the pool on a cruise ship in Mexico.
I love that.
He had that one. Either that or a stunt double. I know how some of these guys are with their signature.
Fender reissued a whole run of them. And so you were able to buy one. You can still buy one. There's reissues all over the place. And the back plate where the Fender normally has a big Fender F on it, it had his saying on it said, "This machine kills hate." He was a hippie. Nice. He knew.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fabulous.
Yes.
Well, if I play a little bit more, and then we're going to
hang
up.
Yeah. Whoa, children, it's just a shot away. It's just a shot away.
Oh, yes.
You hear the sustain? You hear the sustain?
I have dead flowers. I mean, alive flowers for you.
For now.
To the audio listener, Matthew was joking. Is it ever going to get cold? We've had perfect 75-degree weather in Nashville for 2 months.
It's frightening and comfortable at the same time. So.
Yeah, it's wonderful, and my flowers are. Look at this, Matthew.
Still popping.
I'll give them to you, and you kill them. I give Matthew. He loves that song, Dead. Do you like that song, Dead Flowers?
It's all right.
You don't like it that much?
Of course, I love it. Yeah, it's the anthem.
Is that all acoustic? Can you play that on that? Will you play
Yeah.
that? All right, kill my flowers with that.
Take me down, little Susie, take me down. I know you think you're the queen of the underground. You can send me dead flowers every morning.
Matthew's Americana like Keith Richards and Mick. What's his name?
Jagger? Fleetwood? Which Mick do you want?
Mick Jagger. That's where Matthew is from, the Rolling Stone School of Americana, and that's why I love him.
That's right. Yeah, our favorite saying was the Rolling Stones are our favorite country band because it's the truth.
And blues. Don't forget the blues.
Oh yeah. Blues, you know, they nailed it, and that's what I want to do. You know, like there's no separation between them all. It's just how you play it, and so rock on.
You are such a wonderful resource to me. I hope to see you soon. I haven't seen you in a long time. For the audio listener, he's holding up. They wanted to trademark the see-through. It says here, Dan Armstrong see-through TM guitar and bass, claiming that the trademark on the name see-through. However, most players simply refer to it as the plexi.
That's right.
I can see right through you.
I'm looking through you.
I love that one. Paul McCartney has a history with these two. They
of course
gave
he
him
does.
one. Yeah, he's got. Go to I don't know whose website it is, but it's excellent. DanArmstrong.org. He was a fascinating guy, and there's still a lot of people he worked with that are still around, including his son, which apparently is in the pickup business. So go check it out. Thank you, Matthew.
Absolutely.
For my all my wonderful things that you do for me, like giving pocket knives, because I'm ready. Some people say that we need to protect women, but y'all gonna be just fine.
She's gonna be just fine. Well, thank you as well for sharing your knowledge and enthusiasm for such awesome things. I'm always learning with talking to you, so thank you for keeping it going and sharing your good wisdom with us all.
I wanted to try to keep this at 30 minutes. Too bad.
Sorry, folks. You have to dig in.
Okay, the lipstick pickup. My name is Emily Walters. If you want to reach me and give us a record deal or promote, send us money, Venmo, you can find me at Emily@thelipstickpickup.com. And Matthew Paige, DeeOhGee.
Hi.
He's all over the place.
I'm here.
Hire
I'm
him
there.
to do something. You need a hat. You need a bass player. You need a military jacket.
What? I'm here.
You need your oil changed.
I'm good at that too.
Okay, my dear, you're the best. Thank you for being a great American.
Yes, we do our
God bless
part.
America.
God bless America. All right. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. If you hear excellent tone and the sound of birds chirping, it means you've made it through an entire episode of the Lipstick Pickup Podcast. You're as free as a bird now, but I hope you'll join me again soon. Comments or questions? I can be reached at emily@thelipstickpickup.com.